Laser sights enhance and maintain your accuracy in a time of crisis, preventing tunnel vision and allowing quick target acquisition in awkward shooting positions. Crimson Trace, making laser sights standard equipment. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
Welcome to Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, where a right is always a right, not a privilege.
Hey, welcome back to Gun Talk. Tom Gresham here. The number is 866-TALK-GUN or Tom Talk Gun, whichever you prefer. Doesn't really matter. Both of them will get you in here, and we're pretty much open lines. If there's a gun you want to talk about or a question you want to ask, or if you've stumbled upon this, if you're one of the people who have discovered me on Twitter and you hate guns, well, I know you don't really hate guns. You just hate gun owners. I can tell by your tweets. And occasionally I have to remove you because I rarely have to remove gun owners. It's interesting because they're not rude. They're not nasty. They're not mean. They're not hateful. They don't call people names. But the gun banners do. It's the weirdest thing, the supposedly tolerant, well-behaved. And, of course, they call us irrational because we have guns. So we're not screaming at people and telling them we wish that their children would get murdered, wish their children would die. Dana Lash, by the way, NRA spokesperson, is having to move because of death threats, not from gun owners. Credible, real death threats about her children. That's wrong in more ways than we can possibly count. The tolerant left, the folks who oppose violence, saying, we will kill you, we will kill your children, I am coming after you. Really? Because she exercises her First Amendment free speech rights. Something bad wrong with that. You get that, right? Okay. One of the people I love talking with, it is always a pleasure to have with me here, a serious, old school, old world style, real journalist, Dave Workman with the Gun Mag and with Second Amendment Foundation. Hey, Dave, how are you?
Well, I'm okay for an old guy, Tom. How are you?
I am well. I was mentioning the deal, and I know that, you have been an avid follower, reporter on all of this, the thing with Dana Lash, and it's kind of just more of a symptom of the left. Weirdly, it's weird to me, the left, the folks, frankly, supporting the Democrats are the ones who threaten and actually try to kill, kind of like look up Steve Scalise, try to kill conservatives and Republicans.
Yeah, it's a remarkable phenomenon. I think they pronounce that hypocrisy, but I'm not sure. We have to go back to my Funkin' Wagnalls to find that out. But we have seen since the election of 2016, I think the real side of the radical left come out. These people are they're not rational at all. They are everything they accuse us of being. They are dangerous. They are violent. They lie for a habit. And they're not at all worried about any harm that comes to people who disagree with them. And in fact, they encourage that kind of thing. And, I've seen these things on Facebook where some of the people in our camp, and I get kind of a kick out of this, where they'll say, let me think. Now, we've got 16 million guns or whatever, 300 million guns, or they pick a number, and you guys can't decide which bathroom to go to tell me about this fight that you want to have again. It's bizarro world.
But at the same time, they actually are dangerous, and they prove it all the time. When you have Antifa, they show up and they're hiding their faces. They don't have the courage to stand up and say, this is my name, and this is what I believe, and this is what I will do as an act of civil disobedience. No. I'm going to hide, but I am going to firebomb your car, and I'm going to try to hurt you in every way I can. I'm going to throw bricks and knock you out, hospitalize you. But we're the good guys here.
I think probably the best example that we've seen in recent days were the hearings on Judge Kavanaugh's confirmation in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee this past week. I have to give Chuck Grassley, who I've interviewed a couple of times in the past on Fast and Furious, I give him credit for letting these people do exactly what they intended, and they did that on live television. They showed the whole world just how crazy and irrational they are in a public hearing. That sort of thing, the screaming, the shouting, the being ejected, being arrested, that's never happened before in my memory anyway, in a hearing or a series of hearings on the nomination of somebody to occupy a seat on the highest court in the land. You just don't do that. And frankly, I think the people on the panel, including Dianne Feinstein, who's no friend of ours, but I think she was embarrassed by the behavior back there. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe Feinstein will give everything that she's been doing a second thought, because all of the anti-gun stuff, the stuff that has been directed at people like you and me and your listeners and my readers, they have enabled that. And there's no other way to explain that. They have enabled the left to get that far out in the weeds.
No, exactly right. We're talking with Dave Workman at the Gun Mag, thegunmag.com. Dave, I was looking at the video again of Dianne Feinstein questioning Judge Kavanaugh, and she's really upset with him saying in one of his opinions that semi-automatic rifles are in common use. And, of course, if that's a phrase that was used in the Heller decision by Justice Scalia that said if a gun is in common use, you can't ban it. And Judge Kavanaugh said, well, semi-automatic rifles are clearly in common use. And she's saying, well, of course, she switches over to the term assault weapon. Well, assault weapons there may be a lot of them owned, but that doesn't mean they're in common use. They're not in common use. People don't use them. And you go, what?
Well, that's just, yeah, I saw that too. And I watched that in fact, I think I watched it long enough to transcribe her entire remarks, which I used in print here the other day. But here again, you've got Dianne Feinstein and the rest of the anti-gun crowd. They've been trying to rewrite history. Semi-automatic rifles are in common use. I don't care what she says. When you've got 12 to 15 million of those things out there where people use them for 3-gun matches, a lot of people I know use them for hunting, hogs, and even deer and varmints, and they use them for all, including home defense, because as you know, a 57 grain bullet out of a .223 pretty much fragments on contact. You don't have to worry about shooting through the wall of a house or something. And we've seen the stories about people who have used those guns in self-defense. But here's the kicker. Semi-automatic rifle, and I'm really glad you brought this up. We've got an initiative here in Washington State right now, Initiative 1639. And they're calling all semi-automatic rifles semi-automatic assault rifles. And their definition spelled out in this initiative, semi-automatic assault rifle means any rifle which utilizes a portion of the energy of a firing cartridge to extract the fired cartridge case and chamber the next round, and which requires a separate pull of the trigger for each fired cartridge. Now, you tell me, doesn't that sound like a Ruger 1022 or a Marlin Model 60?
It's every semi-automatic 22 rifle ever made. Yeah,
and by no small coincidence, my brother just bought a 1022. He's never owned one, which I find that astonishing because my brother likes to shoot. He's been hunting with me, and we had a picture of him recently in one of the magazines that I write for, where he shot a deer using a rifle, and I helped him zero. Well, he brought the rifle to my place last night. We ran down to the range, zeroed this rifle in 5 rounds, and he started shooting, and he had a ball, and I told him at the end of the session, I said, I want you to remember something, Frank. That gun you just bought is a lead hose. You're going to go through brick after brick after brick of 22s, and it's also an assault rifle. And he goes,
according to this. Hey, Dave, hold on a second. Let's come back. I want to pick this up again on the backside. I will mention that we're talking with Dave Workman. Yeah, the first first gun I ever owned was a semi-automatic 22, still have it, Browning semi-automatic bottom eject. I think I was, 6, 7, or 8 years old. It was given to me by my grandfather. So that would be a gun that under this initiative in Washington State would be classified as an assault weapon. It shows you where they are. It is, well, I'll tell you what, when we come back, I will give you my definition of assault weapon and what they're actually up to. 866-TALK-GUN.
The Ruger pistol that started it all is now even better. The Ruger Mark IV has the same great look as the Mark III, but now its simple one-button takedown means less time taking apart your gun and more time shooting it. Disassemble it in seconds for no hassle cleaning. Learn more about the Target, Hunter, and 2245 Light Mark IV series models at Ruger.com. The Ruger Mark IV, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
If you carry a gun, you need training. Your concealed carry class was definitely not training. But time, money, and obligations keep you from spending days at a shooting school. The trusted folks at Gun Talk can help. Concealed Carry 1, our DVD featuring the VADA Group, covers what gun, what holster, how to carry, where to wear your gun, and much more. Visit shopguntalk.com. That's shopguntalk.com. Look, this really is life and death. Learn how to stay aware, how to get away, and how to fight if you must. At shopguntalk.com, you can get the 2 DVD set, including Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. No matter what gun you carry, this vital training info can save your life. Learn the draw, the stance, reloading, vital gear from Gun Talk. That's shopguntalk.com. shopguntalk.com.
Tired of searching the web for the best deals on guns, ammunition, and gear? Download the free Gun Dealio app today for deals and discounts right at your fingertips. Handguns, rifles, shotguns, ammo, optics, lasers, gun safes, targets, gun cleaners, grips, slings, and much, much more. Save money on products you want from the companies you love. New deals, discounts, and rebates added daily. Gun Dealio, available for free in the App Store and Google Play.
For more than 70 years, Timney Triggers has been enhancing the shooter's experience. Whether it's a local competition, a day at the range, or even the hunt of a lifetime. Setting the standard in aftermarket triggers, Timney is now producing more than 170 models of triggers for bolt-action rifles, shotguns, AR rifles, and semi-automatic rifles. Proudly made in the USA since 1946. Find your new trigger at timneytriggers.com.
We're talking with Dave Workman from the Gun Mag, Second Amendment Foundation, writer, author of a number of books, obviously a writer and editor at the Gun Mag. Dave, we're talking about Dianne Feinstein, and basically they keep swapping out semi-automatic and calling it assault weapon. You're talking about Initiative 1639 in Washington State, which would classify every semi-automatic rifle as an assault weapon, including 22s. And I want to go back to what I've said about this term assault weapon since 1993, when Dianne Feinstein's team wrote the Clinton gun ban assault weapon bill. Assault weapon is a made-up term, and there's a reason why it's made up. It's because it has no definition, therefore it can be infinitely expandable. It can, because you can't look it up and say, well, that's what this is. So in this case, they expand it to 22 rifles. I actually have heard them expand it to handguns. Assault weapons could be handguns. It is a political term, is it not?
Yeah, it is. And it's a creation of the anti-gun crowd, because all they've wanted to do for years, in fact, even decades, I suppose, is make the American public terrified of firearms. And yet you turn on TV and your entertainment, your cop shows, your detective shows, westerns, they're all shoot 'em ups, and you're kind of sad if by the end of the of the hour or the half hour the bad guy hasn't bitten the dust, and he usually does that with a lead pill. And it's such a contrast of logic. On the one hand, the American public loves those action films. On the other hand, you've got the anti-gun crowd trying to say, no, you can't have guns. Guns are bad. Guns are terrible. They'll jump off the table and get you. And, I grew up around guns, and I know you did too. And I have yet to lay a firearm on a table and have it attack me in the middle of the night. It's not going to happen.
Sometimes we do have facts on our side. We do have the data is on our side. And I was just playing with some numbers this morning. I was doing kind of like one of those simple math things. I was playing with this. If you use round numbers, and this is kind of a fun one for people to have, and it's one they can remember. If you use round numbers, there were somewhere in 2016, somewhere around 11,000 murders committed with firearms. So just, and you can quibble if it's 10,000 or if it's 12,000, but let's call it 11,000. There are, according to some surveys and some guesses, because that's all it is, about 110 million gun owners in America. So let's look at those numbers. That makes the math easy. 11,000 gun murders, 110 million gun owners. If you run that out, what that means is 1/100th of 1% of gun owners commit a murder, which if you flip that around, what that means is 99.99% of gun owners do not commit murder.
That's correct. And I've pointed this out several times in my columns at Liberty Park Press, which is another little project that Alan Gottlieb has going, and it's pretty successful right now. But I'm the senior editor there, and I've pointed this out many times that the anti-gun crowd routinely lumps all the suicides, all the accidents, all the justifiable homicides, that's, a bad guy getting shot by a good guy, in with legitimate criminal homicides, just to try to convince America that there's some kind of a bloodbath going on. 33,000 people dead from gun violence every year. And when you break the number down, as you just sagely pointed out, the facts are on our side again. Suicide, as you know, is a horrible thing, but it's an emotional thing. It's guided by all kinds of different factors,
and it's not dependent upon the tool used, because we look at Japan, where they have almost no firearms, and their suicide rate is twice that of the U.S.
Oh, that's right. And I was doing a press conference one time, which I usually like to be on the other side of the microphone, but we had a bunch of people over at the Citizens Committee office of the Second Amendment Foundation and talking about some gun bill. Suicide came up, and I said, look, early in my career when I was running a weekly newspaper, I went to about a half a dozen suicides. Only one of those involved a firearm. I helped bring 2 dead people off the bottom of Snoqualmie Falls in my pickup truck because nothing else could get down there. And the local authorities kind of commandeered me. They say, hey, Workman, you got a truck. Let me borrow it. And, of course, I was down there taking pictures and covering the stuff for the paper. But those are terrible things, naturally, and we all don't like that. And Alan Gottlieb, of course, has been a spearhead on the front end of an effort to curb suicide and combat suicide. But the numbers, again, are on our side. The facts are on our side. 11,000 homicides a year. The other gun deaths are something else, and it's horrible to lump suicides in with criminal homicides.
Let me ask you, Dave, let me jump in here, because you're a journalist. Why do journalists parrot these phony numbers that they get from the gun ban lobby?
Because they're lazy. And I have to say that right up front. Laziness is a big part of what is wrong with journalism today. And another part of it is most journalists don't have any background with firearms at all. I'm one of the few journalists out there with an honest-to-God degree in journalism who's also a gun guy. And I sat down, and I've turned this into my beat. My beat is guns. I could cover school board meetings or city councils or all of that stuff because I've done it in the past. But right now my beat is guns. And it's always kind of interesting. Occasionally I'll get a phone call from some reporter someplace, and they'll check with me about a fact here or a fact there, and I won't lie to them. I'll say, well, yeah, that's right. That's what happened. Or, no, you're wrong. You got that fouled up, and here's why. I don't mind doing that, but unfortunately, most journalists, they have to call somebody like me because they don't know anything about guns.
Sure. And then a lot of them will say, well, we'll call the gun experts. We'll call the Everytown or, that type of group. I mean, and they do. They think that's the gun safety experts because they've commandeered that term. Dave, look, I'm going to have to scoot here. Tell people where they can read your writings more.
You can read my stuff at the Gun Mag, of course, where I'm senior editor, at Liberty Park Press, which is online only, and I'm senior editor there. I write once a day for an outfit called Conservative Firing Line, and I've got a weekly column with American Handgunner Online, so I'm a pretty busy boy. Yes, you are. And you'll be at the Gun Rights Policy Conference? Yes, I will, and I look forward to seeing you there. I expect we'll probably rub elbows. So I would imagine, and it's that will be in Chicago in about 2 weeks now, I think. Yeah, 2 weeks from today, I think we'll be actually wrapping it up because it starts on the 21st. So, oh boy, yeah, I know. Well, I'll see you there, partner. Sounds like a plan. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, if you're interested in that, and I'm going to tell you, it is fun and instructive, and you'll come away with wow, that was great. The Gun Rights Policy Conference, it's free. Can't beat that price. Free. Go to the Second Amendment Foundation's website, saf.org. It's got the information there. It would be best if you signed up before you got there so they know how many to expect. But it's a day and a half, and you'll come away with almost more books than you could carry. Oh, yeah, they're free as well. I'll be there. Dave will be there. A lot of the leaders of the gun rights movement will be there. We hope that you will be as well. All right, let's kick the doors open. Let's talk about guns. What kind of guns are you shooting? What kind of guns are you buying? And if you had your preference, if money was not an object, what would be your next gun? 866-TALK-GUN.
This is Milo Lardbottom, Junior Under Assistant Deputy to the Assistant Director of Deputy Affairs for the Department of Homeland Security, with a special message for listeners of Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. We know who you are. We know where you are. You're right by your radio. We have special cameras that can see into your radio. I have a special monitor built into my aluminum foil helmet. We are watching you, so don't try anything funny, Buster.
Thank you, Milo. Hey, I'm back. Tom Gresham here. Hey, imagine the panic that sweeps over this dad. He's working late, and he gets this alert on his smartphone. His Blink motion-activated security camera picks up something. He opens up the Blink app. He looks at the video clip, and it's a man peering through his kitchen window. He calls 911. He alerts his wife. Preventing situations like this is what Blink is all about. The point of having a home security system is to help alert you before some creep breaks into your home, not after. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up in minutes, and run on batteries that last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening at home anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. No contracts, no subscriptions. And Blink works with Alexa. Here's the deal. Get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys charge, plus an extra 15% off for Gun Talk listeners. Go to blinkprotect.com/guntalk for all the details. That's blinkprotect.com/guntalk. Blink is an Amazon company. All right, let's go to the phones. Line 3, Steve's with us out of Omaha, Nebraska. Hey, Steve, you're on Gun Talk. Hello, Steve. Hey, Steve, we're trying to get him in there. Tell you what, put him back on hold. See if you can pull him in. We'll do that. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about was the idea of kind of dream guns. If you had your druther, you said, oh, man, if money was not an object, is there a gun that you would get? Or do you just go ahead and get the guns that you want? I mean, I know some people who save up for guns for a long time. and others who simply buy what they want when they want it. And I understand that, finances are part of that. And as we like to say, nobody has an unlimited budget. Well, almost nobody. Bloomberg may. But none of us regular people have an unlimited budget. But if you had this is a gun that I would really like to have. And it could be a shotgun. It could be a really nice rifle. Might even be a cool pistol. But I would love to know what your thinking is. If you got a chance to just buy something, what would that be? Also, I was looking at more of the videos. It's fascinating. If you didn't see Senator Ben Sasse doing his talk at the hearings for Judge Kavanaugh, I would highly recommend that you make the effort to go on YouTube, find the video, take a look at it. It's pretty phenomenal. We call it the Schoolhouse Rock version of American civics. It's kind of the thing that everybody should know. You can look at it. It's about 15 minutes long. I put a link to that on my Twitter feed. And I know I've mentioned this before, but if you haven't done it yet, or if you haven't heard me about this, I got on Twitter for one reason only, and that was to help you. I got on Twitter so I could help you find stories that would help you present the information, not our side of the information. It's simply the information. It is the facts. And so what I do with Twitter, and if you follow me on Twitter, what you will get from me is a collection of stories. These will be news stories that you can use. And sometimes there are links to videos, like this one of Senator Sasse, S-A-S-S-E, from Nebraska. He did a phenomenal job of explaining how American civics works. It honestly should be required viewing, but at the very least, you can watch it and you can see what I'm talking about. It was quite impressive. Tell you what, Steve. We got Steve back. He's on line 3 out of Omaha, Nebraska. Hey, Steve, welcome back.
All right. Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. I got you. Go ahead.
All right. Fantastic. Yes, range report.
Yes, sir.
I was using one of those commonly used semi-automatic firearms.
The one that Dianne Feinstein says those are not in common use. You may own them, but you don't use them.
Oh, well, it's an Omni lower and an Anderson upper, and I put it together myself.
Cool.
So
what caliber?
Pretty common. 300 blackout.
Oh, really? Okay, so tell me what you do with it. Why'd you go with the blackout?
I wanted self-defense, but I also, wanted something with a little more, something I could download to where I could be really subsonic.
Right.
Because my suppressor is on the way. It's not here yet. It's on the way.
Yeah, well, once you start shooting the suppressor, you get really spoiled, and then you kind of get to where you almost don't even want to shoot supersonic ammo, just because you kind of think, well, we'll just go subsonic with everything.
Right. Well, until the suppressor gets here, I'm still wearing earmuffs and all that. But
sure.
Here's the thing I called about.
Okay.
A couple days back, about a week ago, I guess it was, I had a package arrive in the mail from Franklin Armory.
Okay.
And I installed my new binary trigger.
Have you had a chance to shoot it?
It is. Oh, yes. That's what I'm calling about. It is so amazing. When I was shooting semi-auto in the past, you get to know the rhythm of your own gun, and you can squeeze the trigger fairly quickly, and you're really quick. Well, with this binary, it's double that, of course, because you fires on the squeeze and fires again on the release.
Mm-hmm.
I ran it so fast that my gun couldn't keep up. So,
really?
Yeah. So I slowed down what was before semi-auto fast trigger motion.
Mm-hmm.
I slowed that down quite a bit, and I was still shooting faster than my semi-auto method before.
Okay.
Because I was squeezing and releasing, and getting one shot per squeeze. Well, now I had to teach myself to squeeze slower.
Right.
And still get a faster response.
All right. Let me ask you, you're speeding up your rate of fire. How is your accuracy when you're shooting fast like that?
Well, because I'm using subsonic loads, the recoil is almost nothing. and I have a red dot, so my old eyes are staying right on target. I haven't noticed the drop-off. The bowling pins were just flying all over the ground when I was shooting them.
That is cool. Now, the other thing, I know that people are saying, what is this? Okay, this is the Franklin Armory. It's their binary firing system. When you pull the trigger, it goes bang, and then when you release the trigger, it goes bang. Now, here's the thing that everybody always asks, and I always ask them. When you pull the trigger, it goes bang, and then you say, okay, I'm done shooting, but if I release the trigger, it's going to go bang again, but there's a way not to do that, right? Yes, and the labeling is clear. It describes it that a toddler could understand it. You keep the trigger depressed, and you just flip your thumb to safe. You let the trigger go, and it's on safe. So when you got the trigger pulled back, you just put the gun on safe, and now you can release the trigger, and it's not going to fire. Precisely. Okay. Well, you sound like a happy guy. Oh, I am so excited about it. Yes, absolutely. That's great. And, there was one other thing. I got so excited I forgot what it is. It's, lost my train of thought. That's all right. Tell you what, call us back sometime. Give us that other thing, whatever that other thing is. Oh, yeah, and Jim points out, says, but you still got to keep your muzzle in a safe direction. Yeah, because you are releasing the trigger, and it's a mechanical device, and you never know. Okay, but you know what? That's okay. We're always keeping our muzzle in a safe direction no matter what. 866-TALK-GUN. I'll be right back with more gun talk.
Stand for the Second Amendment with Franklin Armory. Their 3-position BFS Gen 3 trigger is one of the hottest products for your AR, HK, ACR, CZ, and B&T in curved and straight variations. In position 3, fire 1 round on pull and 1 round on release. Ideal for both tactical and competition use. Get a 10% discount on everything with the code word GUNTALK at franklinarmory.com.
Attacks happen every day. How will you react? See real people put into real-life criminal attack situations on First Person Defender. Discover what works and what doesn't. Kidnapping, ATM robbery, home invasion, and other attacks. Learn how to save your life and the lives of your family. Get the entire first season on DVD at shopguntalk.com. Get prepared. Shopguntalk.com.
Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. The time is now to band together. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
Back with you. Steve, actually, our last caller called back because he kept saying, I forgot something or something else I'm going to tell you. What he forgot to tell us is that when he ordered his binary firing system, this cool trigger, pull-release trigger from Franklin Armory, he used the Gun Talk code, and he got 10% off, so he was particularly happy. Franklin Armory, franklinarmory.com. My friend Ray Elgin joins us again from the first hour, come back, and Ray, of course, been in the gun biz a long time, been a shooter, been a hunter forever. You grew up on a ranch in Nebraska.
Yes, I did.
You did. Well, did you guys have any guns out there? Oh, I'm sorry. Was that a silly question?
Yeah, I think we had one somewhere. I can't remember.
Yeah, probably somewhere around there.
My dad was a pretty good shooter. Yep. He was excellent with the rifle, and he was pretty darn good with the shotgun. But rifle was his big deal. Well,
of course, the rifle was the working tool out there, and that's on a ranch. It's a working tool, isn't
it? Exactly. It is. It's part of your life, part of your daily activity. But the crazy thing was we had no deer back in those days. And of course now it's full of white-tailed deer there, and some mule deer actually. But in those days, if one of the ranchers around there had seen a deer, it was news in the neighborhood for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
There just weren't any.
It's one of the great American conservation stories is that there are more deer in the white-tailed deer in the United States now than when Columbus landed on the shores.
Exactly. I know that to be true.
And, how'd that happen? Well, let's see. Hunters paid for it. It's real simple. There's no mystery. Nobody is paying for this except for hunters. We're kicking in, I think the number's like $3 million a day.
Yeah.
With our excise taxes and our license fees and everything.
And it's such a little-known fact.
Right.
People just don't, they think, well, some mysterious government agency did all this. Well, it's...
yeah, with our money.
Yeah, exactly. With our money.
With hunters' money.
Yeah.
Because nobody else is kicking in the money. And it's, for those who don't know, most people are aware, that firearms and ammunition, the manufacturers pay a federal excise tax on that. And that money is dedicated through the Pittman-Robertson funds to habitat, to wildlife restoration, and for shooting ranges.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a pretty cool deal. Hey, Ray, hold on a second. I got a call coming in here. Line 1, Peter's with us out of Pensacola, Florida. Hey, Peter, you got a range report for us?
I do, Tom. The last time I called in, I had just ordered my anniversary present, which was the Kel-Tec Sub 2000.
Yeah.
And while I was on hold, I heard the ad for the Ruger PCC. So thanks for that, by the way.
Yeah.
But my anniversary present finally came in, and a friend of mine had a SIG 365, and he was offering anybody who wanted to the chance to shoot it. So naturally I did. 2 birds with 1 stone.
Okay.
The Kel-Tec handled absolutely perfect. It uses the Glock mags, and I was using an aftermarket mag. Had no problems with feeding it. It took I think I was using Tulo brand ammunition, something that was cheap, and I had not even the slightest hiccup with it. There was next to no recoil for a 9mm carbine, especially one as light as the Kel-Tec is.
Right. Well, that is terrific. So, all right, so I'm also interested in your impression. Was this the first time you'd had a chance to shoot a SIG P365?
Yes, it is. And this was the same model being given away for the Friends of NRA banquet.
Okay.
For a micro-sized 9mm with the extended magazine, it fit absolutely perfect in my hand. I didn't have a problem of the dangling pinky.
Right.
I had no problem with the gun slipping, which I did with the Glock 43. And it was actually more comfortable to shoot than the 43 was in my sausage fingers.
Are you a big guy?
No, I've just got thick fingers.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, I shoot a 365, and one of the things I found with it, and I would like your impression, and I haven't shot a lot of them, but the one that I shoot has a really good trigger pull, more so than I expected on a small gun.
The trigger pull was great. It was smooth. There was a very definite take-up upon release. We could feel the click. So you know when the reset was. It was a lot of fun to shoot.
Well,
and again, it didn't jump from my hand like the Glock 43 did.
Well, you know what's going to happen now. Now that you have this Kel-Tec, you are going to go through so much ammo, and you'll be smiling the whole time, but you are going to shoot a lot of ammo.
Yeah, and I have to buy more magazines, of course.
Well, yeah, it's a given, right? But the good news is you can get Glock magazines everywhere there. Hey, great range report, Peter. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Ray, you could just hear the excitement in a guy that gets a new gun, right?
Yeah, every time.
Yeah, it's like, I got a new gun. I got to tell everybody about it, and it's cool. And it's not an expensive gun, but everybody's making good guns now. The skill level of gun manufacturing is just, and ammo. I mean, just amazing. Oh, yeah. It's all so much better than it was 20 years ago. If you weren't there then, you can't appreciate how good everything is now.
Indeed. That's absolutely the case.
It is. All right. I tell you what, if you've got a range report, we still have room for you. We can get you in 866-TALK-GUN. Something that you have purchased, even if it's something you've had for a long time, you've taken out to the range, been having some fun with it, or if you had the experience of introducing somebody to shooting, we always like to hear about those. How did it go? How did you set it up? And what guns did you put into their hands? Again, 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham. We're back. Tom Gresham here, visiting with Ray Elgin. We're sitting here looking at some stories in the news. One of them is this Hurricane Florence is about to hammer North Carolina. It's one of those deals where people say, what's that have to do with guns? Well, you know what? We got to watch it during Hurricane Katrina when everything stops. There's no support network. There's no police. There's no EMS. There's nobody there to help. You're simply on your own. And a lot of people looked at that and went, hey, honey, I think maybe we ought to buy a gun. Mm-hmm. You think?
Absolutely.
You know, it's like, okay, what are we going to do? And I always ask people, what's your plan? What are you going to do? Well, we'll call for help. Well, first of all, the cell phones are not going to work because all the towers are down. There's no electricity. And, oh, yeah, if it's like Katrina, the police are not there anymore either.
That's right.
You're just there.
That's right.
So, if you, and I'm not saying you have to arm, to take on the world, but it's probably not a bad idea to think about things like that. And it's a multi-level preparedness. You got your water, you got your food, you got, your firearms, your ammo, toilet paper.
Indeed.
Emergency stuff right there.
Serious stuff.
Got to have that. So, if you're in the path there, take it seriously. Get ready right now, like as in today before the sun goes down. Get serious about it because 24 hours before it hits, there's nothing left on
That's right.
in the stores.
That's exactly right.
It's just that way. Trust me. As a Louisiana resident, I can attest to all that. And I can also tell you how to get rid of hurricanes.
How's that?
About 4 years ago, I bought a big whole house generator.
Uh-huh.
We have not had a hurricane since then. I got all prepared. I'm ready for it. Man, when the power goes out, we're there. Everybody's going to hunker down at my house. It's like having an umbrella and it never rains.
That's right. It's magic.
It is a magic deal. Ray, we were talking one of the things about the quality of guns, and I try to explain to people, you don't understand. And maybe it's CNC machinery. It's got a lot to do with it.
Oh, of course it does. Yes.
Because you don't rely on people. We used to have artisans, and then it got hard to get artisans because you couldn't find anybody who was willing to apprentice for 10 years to learn how to make stuff.
Exactly.
Right? Because I want it right now.
Yep.
And, when's my break?
Uh-huh.
And so with the CNC machines, they make parts that are absolutely interchangeable. I mean, it's hard to say it's perfect, but they're pretty darn close to perfect.
Well, some more so than others, but the overall average of quality has gone up so exponentially. It's just insane. And you're going to find one that's maybe not just perfect, but
sure.
The odds are so much better today than they were.
Well, and if you do have a problem, if you do have something that's not working right, the other thing that's happened is that, and I know your days at Loophole, they had that phenomenal guarantee, but that's pretty much true across the board now. If a gun maker has a product and it happens, they get out and go, hey, this is not working right. I always tell people, don't complain to everybody. Call the company because they want to fix it.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're
want to know.
If you're at the manufacturer, you want to know.
The worst thing in the world is for somebody to tell all of his friends for the next 2 months about how bad this was when a single phone call could have solved the whole problem.
And it's amazing. People say, well, what are they going to do? They're going to send a box. They're going to send a shipping label. You're going to be able to send it to them for free.
Exactly.
They will fix it or replace it, and they will send it back to you.
Yep.
It's an amazing process. Give them a chance to make it right.
It's a no-brainer, actually, but sometimes people just would rather complain. But
and they don't know. You know what? I think they're used to getting the runaround, and they don't realize, no, pretty much in the firearms industry, people are going to take care of you.
I think so, yes.
Exactly right.
Very few exceptions to that.
All right, tell you what, if you'd like to be part of the after show, Ray's going to hang around. If you want to talk with us, give us a holler right now, 866-TALK-GUN. We'll get you in there, just Tom Talk Gun. If you've never listened to the after show, well, shame on you. Are you crazy? You got to get the Gun Dealio app. It's free for your iPhone or Android, and you can listen to the after show. That's the part that's not normally broadcast around, so you can pick that up as well. All right, simple as that. In the meantime, go out and do some shooting, getting ready for the hunting season. Side in, check out that gun. Go get the gunsmithing done right now. They're already getting busy, and we'll see you next week.